What's up YouTube? Jeff back again from High on Android, DopeTechDaily.com. I know I've been gone for a little while. I took a week off for the holidays, spent some time with some family, do some things, but I'm back today with my top 5 Android phones of 2015. And so we're going to get right into it. We're going to count them down starting with number 5. I'm going to give you guys a list of the top 3 pluses and the top 3 minuses for each phone as we go along. Now keep in mind, as we go along, the number of minuses are going to become less and less because the phones are getting better and better. And also keep in mind that these are all my opinion. I've talked with a lot of people on Twitter about their top 5s. And of course, this is going to have a very flavor for how I use my phones. So just keep that in mind as we go. And let's get right into it. The top 5 Android phones of 2015. At number 5 on my top 5 Android phones, we have the LG V10. Now, if you go check out my review of the LG V10, I will link the review below in the description. You'll see that there were quite a few things that I liked about the LG V10, just a few that I didn't that bugged me, that sort of kept it from being higher on the list. A few of the top 3 main things that are great about this phone, you'll notice there we've got the Hi-Fi DAC, which I talked about a lot during the review. Of course, you can connect a headset here and get great hi-fi audio output from the LG V10, so if you're an audiophile, that's going to be fantastic for you. The next thing, of course, that I pointed out in my review is the second screen at the top. Now, a lot of people thought this might be a gimmicky feature, but I found it to be incredibly useful, and I definitely think it was something that LG did very well. And then, of course, the other big thing about the V10, if we go into the manual video controls, you can see here, you can control pretty much everything from the ISO. We've got your white balance, manual focus. You can even do the mics, so you can control where you're getting sound from, the front or the back. It's really, really great experience if you're an amateur videographer. You're going to love the LG V10 for that reason as well. Now, what about the things that bothered me about this phone? The one big one was the fingerprint scanner, of course. The fingerprint scanner on the back of this phone, just not very good, not very accurate. And you guys saw that I had a lot of problems with the fingerprint scanner with that case on the phone. Now, that has been fixed for the AT&T model, but T-Mobile has still not issued an update for their variant. The other thing, of course, the speaker on this phone, I mentioned that. The speaker on this phone is pretty much garbage. It's a very small speaker. It's not very loud, not very clear at all. One of the worst speaker experiences I've had on a phone in quite some time. And then the last thing, of course, is that the auto pictures on this phone, if you take pictures in auto mode, they're really not as good as you would expect. So there's a lot of great controls in the manual mode for pictures as well. But if you go to auto or simple, even these 2 modes they have right here, and you try to take a shot, it's really not as good as you would expect from a high-end camera like this. So some of the phones that are higher up on the list, they definitely have a better camera in terms of taking pictures in just a point and shoot type of environment. So that's the LG V10, and it is my number 5 Android phone of 2015. At number 4 on my list for Android phones in 2015 is the Blackberry Prive. Now, the Prive, of course, runs BlackBerry security software, has the physical keyboard, has a lot of security and productivity sort of utility for the professional, but it also runs a very close to stock Android build, still running Lollipop, but runs very close to stock Android. And that's one of the things about this phone that really appealed to me, is that it does have that sort of Google's vision for Android included. You guys can see I'm running Action Launcher 3 on here right now. But it does stick really close, and in addition to that, you get a really good camera, very good speakers, and if you're someone who really likes the physical keyboard, that's going to be even better. As I mentioned in my full review, I really like to use this as a trackpad. The only thing about this phone that really brought it down for me is the front-facing camera at 2 megapixels is really not nearly as good as it should be on a flagship device. The phone is also a bit thick, as you can see from the side profile there as well. And of course, the other really bad thing about this phone is the price. It's about $750 at AT&T unlocked, $700 from BlackBerry, so you don't get quite as good of a value as you do with some of these other phones that are a little bit higher up the list. But overall, the build quality, the software experience, and everything else about the Blackberry Prive I really liked. I was surprised with BlackBerry's ability to bring us a flagship Android device, and that puts it at number 4 on my list of 2015 flagships. At the number 3 spot, I have the Moto X Pure Edition from Motorola. Now, this was one of the best values in Android in 2015. It came available unlocked for $399, 16 gigabytes, or $450 for the 32 gigabyte variant. This is running even closer to stock Android than the Blackberry Prive. It's very similar to what you would get on a Nexus, and also this device is updated very regularly. If we go in here, you can see I'm already running Android 6.0 Marshmallow on my Moto X Pure Edition. So of course with Motorola you can expect to get very quick software updates as soon as they get pushed out to the Nexus. Should expect to receive those fairly frequently. Also has a great camera, some of the best speakers on a flagship this year, and all of that for this fantastic price, and also the Moto Maker customization options and the custom software options with things like Moto Active Display, etc. Definitely make this one of the best phones of 2015. The only things that sort of brought it down for me, you have no removable battery. The battery life is really not as great as it could be. And also, in my opinion, the screen on this phone is not quite as good as the two phones that I'm going to show you in spots number 1 and number 2. But this definitely belongs in the third spot in my top 5 Android phones of 2015. At number 2, we have the Nexus 6P from Huawei and Google. So with this number 2 ranking, you can probably guess what's going to come number 1, and we'll get to that in a second. But the Nexus 6P is a fantastic phone that also is a great value at $499 for the 32GB option. It's got a beautiful metal build, as you can see here. It's got this sort of weird camera hump at the top, but it's really not that noticeable in person. You've got one of the best, if not the best, in my opinion, it is the best, fingerprint scanner in Android today. It's right here on the back in this convenient position. It's incredibly accurate, it's incredibly fast. This thing is, of course, running stock Android. It has Android 6.0.1 already. You're going to get the latest updates from Google. So you've already got Marshmallow. You're going to always have the newest version of Android. And of course, this thing also has a fantastic camera. It's got pretty much everything you could want in a phone. The only things that are really missing here, of course, is because of the all-metal construction, you have no removable battery. You also have no expandable memory. But of course, you can get a 128GB model if you want. Overall, this phone is incredibly snappy, great gaming performance, great all-around phone. Really not that much to complain about with it, and that is exactly why it is at number 2 on my list of top 5 Android phones of 2015. Coming in at the number 1 spot for 2015, the Samsung Galaxy Note 5. Now you guys saw me unbox the original white Verizon model. You probably know if you follow me on Instagram or you've seen some of my recent videos. I also picked up a second one, which is the 64GB gold model from T-Mobile, because I really wanted to root my Note 5. This is definitely the phone that I've used the most in 2015. As you can see, it was so nice, I bought 2 of them. And some of the features that, of course, I love about the Note 5, I feel it really has the best screen in Android. The Exynos processor really performs in gaming, multitasking, and of course Samsung has great multitasking support with things like multi-window, etc. You can play a game at the same time you're browsing the internet. You can watch a YouTube video while you're having a Hangouts conversation. And of course, the other thing that really makes the Note 5 for me the best phone of the year is the S Pen. There's no other phone right now in the market that has the S Pen functionality. You can crop photos, you can share Instagram posts, Facebook posts, you can use it for productivity, taking notes, and for me, I really use the S Pen a lot, and that is what sets it apart from other phones in my opinion. Now, of course, TouchWiz is still a little bit more laggy, it's a little bit heavier than I would like, and you also don't have the removable battery or expandable memory. But at the end of the day, with the excellent fingerprint scanner, display, the best point-and-shoot camera in smartphones, as well as the S Pen features and multitasking features, that definitely makes the Galaxy Note 5 my favorite phone, my favorite Android phone of 2015. Alright guys, I appreciate you guys checking out the video. If you want to like the video and subscribe, I really appreciate it. I'll have a link to all my full reviews of these top 5 phones in the description if you want to check out all of my thoughts from the full review. You can follow me on Twitter, Google+, in the description. Find me writing at news.highonandroid and dopetechdaily.com. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks a lot for watching.